Let me know when we're ready to start. We're recording.
My name's Carl Alexander.
So my name's Carl Alexander,
I go by Dr. Hack.
and I go by Dr. Hacks on Twitter. If you want to follow me, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool too.
I've been in the industry about 30 years.
I've been in the industry about 30 years in IT, roughly. I work for a Fortune. I don't know what we are today, but it's a fairly large global company, and we have probably 1,800 facilities, 1,600 plus applications, millions of customers. So it's a pretty good sized network and environment that we get to play in. One of the things I've been doing for the past 13 years is working in InfoSec. And working in InfoSec, I find it to be, I mean, it's just absolutely fun. If you're not having fun in InfoSec, you're doing it wrong. I'll just put it like that. One of the things that I like to look back on is one of my first hacks was I went back into an old, I don't know, you guys are probably too young for this, but I went back in an old cable box, and we used to put gum wrappers underneath the pot, and you could actually get different channels that you didn't subscribe to. So that's kind of one of my first things I ever did, and that was a kid. Some of the things we all know is there's two things you can be sure of in life, is death and taxes. Everything else is up to you, literally. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about the challenges that we run into in InfoSec, in that everything is a lot of times negative. We run across that. Who in here has a frustrating position at times?
Oh my goodness.
You know, oh my goodness, look, the hands go up, right? I know that, you know that. So what I want to do with that is I want to explain the don't laugh, I dare you theme, okay? Now, in the InfoSec industry, we get in a lot of pressure. If you want to go ahead and start passing out, people who want to, raise your hands, he'll take care of you. I don't have that many, but all right. So breaches occur on a daily basis, and anybody can tell you, you know, breaches are stressful. I don't care what company you're with. When somebody else has a breach, your management gets involved. If you're in the industry, if you're doing pen testing and somebody has a breach, there's going to be a spike in your activity. So InfoSec has a lot of pressure, has a lot of stress, and what I would encourage you to do is figure out how to have fun with it. Now, for those that are getting the bourbon already, I would ask you to sip on it. And that's like because what you want to do is you want to feel that burn. You don't want to just gulp it down, because that's not what it's made for. You want to sip on it and kind of let it encourage yourself in the best of ways. You want to have fun with IT. And when I say have fun with it, it's really up to you, because each of us make a decision whether to have fun with it or whether to look at it as a bad thing. Oh, I'm in such a frustrating environment. This is just terrible. You can look at it that way, or you can look at it on a positive side and say, you know what? I'm going to make this better. I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to make it better. We're in a tough position. So my role is I like to find humor in what I deal with on a regular basis. So everybody's going to see these, right? How many of you laughed when you heard about the Ashley Madison? You know, right? It's freaking funny, right? A good friend told me a little bit more about this, and I was just like, I was amazed what they were actually doing and what their business model was. But the long and short of it, it's serious business, right? They're going to have a hard time in business now. But we got to laugh. OPM, you might not laugh about that so much, especially if you have clearance, because not only did your credentials and some of your information get out, but a lot of other people's information that knew you got out as well. So it's not all fun and games. But I would submit to you, if you look at Dave in this picture, does he look like he's frowning? I want to use Dave as an example. Dave's an example of somebody who always shows having some fun in this industry And that's the reason DerbyCon's so successful, in my opinion.
Now, I'm going to tell you about a major
Now,
incident I went
I'm going to tell you about a major incident I went through. I've already told you I've been within the company for a while. Had to shut down a whole bunch of facilities. Now, when I say I had to shut down 120 facilities, a lot of people will be, oh my God. Yeah, 120 facilities. The situation was we just had to. In order to protect the rest of the enterprise, we had to. It was ugly. Management was stressed out. They were absolutely just shaking, red. How are we going to get this done? You know, it was terrible. All the people who were responsible for making this problem go away, they were stressed out. They came up to me and they asked me a question. They said, "Don't you have any good news?" And I looked them straight in the eyes. There's about 5 of them there together. And I said, "I'd just save 15% on my car insurance with Geico." And that's exactly what they did. They laughed.
It broke that ice to get us.
It broke that ice to get us through the stress, to help us push forward. And we can make good business decisions. And that's what it's about. It's making good business decisions in spite of the situation that you're working in.
I love to share this slide.
I love to share this slide. You may not be able to see it here. If you go on Twitter, you'll see it. But it's one of those stories where, you know, it's easy to laugh at somebody who's doing something wrong. In this little video, or not video, but the if you can read it, basically the dude here, he's like, you know, when I was a kid, I'd go to the store and I'd spend $1 and I'd get all this stuff. Can't do it anymore. Too many damn security cameras.
Exactly right.
Exactly right. So we got to look for the humor, right? So be careful in, you know, don't put too much humor into it. And what I mean by that is you need to know when it has its place and when it doesn't. And you have to be familiar and be networked in order to do that. So you don't want to do it in the wrong situation, because it can then escalate on you, and that wouldn't be so good.
I love this.
I love this one. How many of y'all have seen this from Dave? Anybody seen this before? Yeah, there you go. Good job. Trusted Sec put this out. Is anything about this real? No, but it's hilarious, right? This is the point I'm trying to get across to you. People who are leaders in the industry understand humor in what we do is an important soft skill that we don't teach near enough. And it's great that you have technical skills. It's great that you can tell what bit went where, when, and why. But it's more important, literally, to be able to do that in an easy fashion that doesn't make somebody else feel like they're not worth anything. It's better to share it with humor. And don't laugh at them, laugh with them. And that's kind of what this is. It's a pawn on the vendor industry that we have. So be careful with that, and just remember, we're all in this together. So have some fun with it. Some benefits to humor. Did you guys know that it actually decreases pain? It decreases pain.
I wake up every morning now.
You know, I wake up every morning now. I'm getting a little older. Hardest thing for me to do every day is get out of bed. It is tough. But I laugh through it.
When I walk into the office.
When I walk into the office and, you know, it's a rough day, humor helps me get through that. It decreases that pain physically. Mentally. How many times have you walked in and you've been stressed out? You're doing something, you get stressed out. You got a presentation to do, you got a pen test that you got to finish up, you got to write up, you got to finish up. You've got something that you got to get done. The fact is, if you keep humor about you, it will help to calm those fears, and it'll help to calm that down. And those around you that you work with, they're more willing to help you when you have this. So keep that in mind. And that's the social part of it. The social part of this, if you can help diffuse conflict, I know in the environment we're in, thousands of people, totally separated, miles and miles apart, it becomes very difficult to communicate
And the
sometimes.
fact of the matter is,
And the fact of the matter is, humor, if you can find it, will help to it'll help to eliminate some of that challenge.
don't underestimate the
So
power.
don't underestimate the power of this in the job you do every day.
So, ways to apply it in
So
our
ways to apply it in our
industry.
industry. I've already harped on this a little bit, but let's get into this.
We want to make it fun. And
We
when I
want to
say
make it
it,
fun. And when I say it, I mean IT in general, IT operations. In our pen testing practice, what we normally do is we do something called burn it to the ground. And what that means is I don't just get on a box. That's not the idea. What we do is we get on the box, figure out maybe an administrator's password, and then once we get that, we sneak through the entire environment as an administrator in such a way that we look legitimate. We try to make it as real as possible. And with the type of applications that we're working with, when you get to the end of the rope, if you will, there's a golden goose back there. And we show the business exactly what we were able to do, how we were able to do it. But we add to that a win. And that win is we allow them to understand what they can do to fix the challenge they're having. We don't just leave them with, you've got a problem. We leave them with a problem that's solvable. And that speaks volumes to people because it's not what's in it for me and showing that I'm cool. It's I'm trying to help you. Just like everybody in this room today, I'm trying to help you understand that building humor and laughter into what you do on your job every day will help those around you, those that you network with. It will make a difference in your life long term. Okay? I'm not perfect at it, but if everybody tries, the whole community succeeds. So, burning down the house, it's very important. Going to what we call our blue team. We have SOC. We have a bunch of different groups that take care of our blue team side. Within the blue team side, we want to make it fun as well. So we'll take our pen tester and we'll say, hey, why don't you guys work together? And we want the pen tester to be able to figure out who's doing what, where, when, and how. And during that time, we want the defenders to be able to chase them, be able to watch them. Don't stop them necessarily, but watch them. See if you can see them. And during that process, we find that we have blind spots. Well, guess what? It's great when you know somebody's trying to get at you, but you cannot see them. It makes you want to change, and it makes you want to do better, right? All of us want to do better. That makes life fun. Doing better, everybody's successful. It's always bad when you have a pen tester come in and they tell you that I just owned everything that you have and you suck, right? It's okay when you're trying to defend and you know that you're having trouble and you're able to make the changes and make the adjustments and find the gaps. It makes it a much better experience, and it's not one-sided. So that's what I say when I say apply it. That's where I'm going to. So the Purple Team Challenge, you may not be in an environment where you can do that, but if you're a pen tester, the next time you write a statement of work, I would encourage you to say, in the statement of work, I want to be able to work with your blue teams and let them know that we're coming. Let them know. Don't be afraid. If you're a good pen tester and you got the skill, it won't matter. There's enough problems out there. It ain't going to matter. But what you're going to do is you're going to make a pen test that's more valuable to your customer than anything you could ever imagine. And for the pen tester, it's more of a challenge because they have to get better at their game. For the blue team that's facing you, it gives them the opportunity to shine. And that's what it's all about. Everybody winning, because we're all in this business together. So. All right. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about outside pen testing. We do a lot of projects at my company, and sometimes we do things that are remote. And when I say remote, I don't want to send all my people traveling around the world. I want to keep them kind of in a nice family atmosphere where they're not having to get out and go all over the place. So we try to supplement our internal pen testing with external pen testing. And part of that leads me down the roads where I get these experiences where we as a group, we went out to this vendor and said, hey, we want to start doing this this service for our customers. And the vendor came back and said, sure. So they brought me in. They said, hey, we want to make sure these things are secure before we put them out on the street and put them out in the public. And I was like, oh, great, sure, I can do this. So first thing I did was I asked for some schematics. I asked for some understanding of what the project looked like. Long and short of it, these guys came back and I said, you know, I do some lock picking. I noticed the lock on this thing, just visual looking. I said, the lock on this thing looks like it's one of those really cheap little locks that you find like on the TSA or something. And they were like, well, yeah, it's not really all that hard, but it's up at the top and nobody would ever do that. I was like, yeah, I would. They didn't know what to say. So they had to go back literally and retrofit the locks and change the locks because I said I would do that. After that, they were like, oh, Lord, what are we in for, right? So I started asking them, I said, do you know what a pen test is, you know? And have you ever had one? And they were like, they shook their heads and they'd never heard of a pen test. So I said, well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a pen test and we're going to look at all your systems and make sure that they're functioning the way we would expect. And within this, I got to tell you the way this thing's set up real quick. You walk up with your driver's license, put your driver's license in. It'll open up one of the doors, one of the lockers, and then you can get a package out or whatever. In this case, it actually communicates with a cellular modem or a modem back through a wireless carrier. So it's all self-contained. Sounds pretty solid, right? You got the encryption with the cellular stuff. Well, what we found out during the pen test was, one, you could use some barcodes because there were some barcode readers on this thing. And the pen tester was able to use some barcodes and open all the lockers. Really scary. So we got that fixed. That took them about one day. We then turned around and we looked at what could we do from the internet? Because, you know, this thing's, you know, it's locked down, right? We found out that they were using defaults on the cellular modems. Within 48 hours, they had opened the lockers from the internet. So the point I'm trying to get at is, when I went back and shared this with some of the team that was getting ready to roll this stuff into the field, they were gasping. And I tried to keep this in a happy state for the folks that were dealing with it. The fact is, if you've never had a pen test, you don't understand what a pen test is, it's going to be difficult to move forward with this. So the point I want to make, try to have fun with it. There's going to be situations that are going to be tough, but I find this hilarious myself. And it's fun to work with this. All right. Some of the things I would tell you are get creative. Now, a lot of you look at this, and I don't know if anybody recognizes this box, but it's one Adrian built a little while back. You can have fun. There's different ways. I made a box the other day that has a fire alarm in it, and you open one lock and you get to the second lock. The lock's behind some plexiglass, and it puts some stress on you in your lock picking. But the whole point is have fun with it. And you can do competitions within your group. You want to improve a skill set? Do competitions. Have fun. Don't just, you know, don't be reserved about it. Make some time for some fun. I got some TSA lock boxes that I keep. You know, you've seen them before. I was showing Adrian this one time. I said, hey, you can put a couple of these Nerf guns in there, put one guy here, have them start dueling on the lock picking, and ever who gets to the gun first wins. And then they get some fun out of it, right? So be creative. It doesn't take that much to do this stuff. That's the point I want to get across to you. You don't have to be some super genius person to do this, because I'm a very common, very basic person, very average. So I don't want you to ever think that your ideas aren't great, because you can have a lot of fun with average ideas.
Giving back to the community.
Giving back to the community. And I know a lot of you, you see Adrian as an example walking in the door here. Adrian's one of the best guys I know about giving back to the community. This is a picture from pen testing, or not pen testing, but a course that we were doing, and doing some training on Metasploit and some hacking. So the idea is you can have fun doing this stuff. Get out and be part of the community. Don't just come to a conference. There's a lot of things going on in the areas around you. You have to take the time to go to those things. The fact is, because you're here today, chances are you stand out in your environment already, because most people don't go to conferences. So I just want you to pat yourself on the back for that one. Giving back to the community. Now, I knew that Adrian liked mead, and I was over in Wales, and I ran across this place. I was in a castle, and they sold some mead. So I was like, you know what? I want to give back to the community too. I want to help Adrian out. So I went and bought him some mead, and I brought it back with me. You know, that's pretty cool, right? You're thinking of others. Put others before yourself in some ways. That's the idea of the networking we talked about earlier, right? We heard the keynote about the networking. So I also went to Dublin, and I got something while I was there as well. Oh, what did I do with that? Yeah. Now, Michael had given me this bottle up here, and I noticed that it's not going away very fast. I don't guess many people wanted it. But, Michael, if you wouldn't mind, this is 12-year-old stuff. We already run out of glasses. Is that what happened? Yeah. Share it. Seriously. Share it with others. Yeah, bring those glasses on up. If anybody wants any of this, please come up and get it. Giving back to the community, that's my whole thing. Trying to give back. And if this is a little interruptive, that's fine. That's part of it. We deal with that, right? This is a picture from where we were down in Nashville at a national ISSA conference. And the point I wanted to make with that one is that the ISSA conference, it's usually a bunch of, I'm going to call them industry, white shirts with ties, and it's pretty tight. It's pretty tight. It's not a hacker community. We showed up down there. We were doing lock picks. We were doing, Adrian had some Raspberry Pis out. We were doing a lot of things like what you see right here at DerbyCon, and they ate it up. We were building cantennas, and the fact is, everybody likes to do some hands-on. Everybody likes that. So don't be afraid to get involved with the community. If you're not, it's your duty. I'm going to tell you this right now. It's your duty to give back, because if you don't give back, it's going to be harder on you, because you're not going to network as much. I've got more out of networking in the community than I have anything else I've ever done. No schooling, whatever. Networking in the community. And I know everybody's like, you don't want to be iced. Truth is, I don't. But I like to give back to the community through Hackers for Charity. If you're not familiar with them, please take the time to get involved with that. They're doing a wonderful service. We all take the internet for granted, and the fact is, Johnny's down there trying to make the world a different place with his knowledge, not to make himself money, but to be able to give back to the community. And our support of him doing that is part of us helping do that as well. So, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming in and listening to the talk today. The little URL here talks a little bit more about humor and how it can actually help you physically, mentally, and socially. And for those who now have a red cup, the proper way to do this, and just let it float around in your mouth. Feel that little bit of burn in the back of your throat. And the longer that burn exists, what happens is, the better the bourbon, the longer that burn will last sometimes. And you can do this for hours and never get drunk, because if you do it properly, you're going to enjoy it. It's moderation. Too many times we like to take this and just gulp it down. As I've gotten older, what I've found is when you take your time and you make it last, it's much better. So with that, I thank you all for attending today, and I thank the guys on the video crew. Appreciate it.